The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Jabron.
From the FBI, Vito, the School of Rifle from Staten Island, New York, toughest man that ever was dressed. The Pavarotti of hard shots, the body of Python, got it going on.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody. Sunday night here at the Russo household. It is Grandpa Vince. I like putting on my wife's reading glasses. Then I really look like Grandpa Vince. Little Sami Zayn. And I am joined by the great big Vito LaGrasso. Listen, I want to make one thing perfectly clear to everybody. And Vito, I feel a little bad about this. I kind of hijacked last week's show because I had a lot to say. But I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Getting color is Big Vito's show. This is Big Vito's show. This was my token of friendship to my buddy Big Vito, who was there for me through thick and thin, through all these years, never turned his back on me. When I was finally able to get a spot on Podcast One, Big Vito wanted to start off in podcasting. I gave him this for us. So, Vito, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I want to apologize. I talked too much last week. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Getting color is Big Vito's show.
Well, Vince, you didn't have to apologize. And sometimes, if either one of us have to say something, we give each other the courtesy on the show. This isn't, yes, it's my show, but it's, you're with me. We share the spotlight. We share the show. And when you have me on other things, you give me opportunity. So if you got something on your mind and you want to speak it, this is the greatest forum to have. We don't hold back any punches. We like to handle ourselves with class and dignity and make a point. We're not here to bash nobody. We're not here to praise nobody. We just speak our minds correctly, try to come out as, as etiquetely as possible and as polished as we can be. Sometimes we get a little hot and heated, but, I guess.
Bro, you're talking about being polished and being Italian at the same time, bro. Are you out of your mind?
You want to hear a good story? Want to hear what happened last night?
Go ahead, bro.
I decided I was going to stay home with the wife yesterday. It was raining. I've been going to the gym. I've been banging around, I'm doing my normal thing. I do everything I have to do in the house. I said, I'm going to stay home today. I just felt like it. So, and I don't eat everybody knows I don't eat any junk. I don't eat, any pizza, nothing like that. Wife says, let's order pizza tonight. I said, you know what? I haven't had it in a long time. I said, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Order a pizza on Grubhub. Doesn't show for an hour 15. I call up. Hey, listen, we ordered a pizza. Yeah, it's raining now. I said, but it's an hour and 15 minutes ago. Yeah, but it's fog out. I said, we're only 4 miles from your pizza place. So one thing led to another. He starts getting nasty, hangs up the phone on me. I said, okay. Get on the phone again. Curses me. I said, how about if I come down there and I want to see if you're going to talk to me like this in my face? He said, go ahead and come on down.
Oh, bro.
Okay. So got in my car. It took me 3 minutes. I walk in. The guy's carrying a box to go outside. I said, you the manager? He goes, yeah. I said, now I want to see you talk to me like this to my face. So, guys, I'm going to get explicit. I'm going to tell you what's what. Okay? So I began to tell him as he's walking back into place, he's got about 12 workers there. And I said, you know what? I says, you talk tough on the phone. You told me to come down here. You want to curse me. You want to say shit. You want to do this. I said, now we're going to talk. I said, now I want to see you talk.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is this the polished side of you?
Let me tell you something. I let it rip. I called him a jerk off like no other. I said, everybody in the place knows you're a jerk off. I said, the girl knows you're a jerk off. I said, you're a wuss. I said, I'm still waiting for you to tell me that you're going to fucking talk to me like this. Okay. So one thing led to another. He's stuttering. He's stipping. He asked the girl, did I curse him? She goes, I don't want to get involved. I said, see, she knows you're a jerk off. Okay. So now 2 guys from the back. This is going on about 10 minutes. And one guy grabs a rolling pin. The other guy grabs a pizza board. Right? So the guy yells from the back, get out, get out, get out. I said, come on, I'm here. So they grabbed the guy from who had the pizza board in his hand. I said, I'm waiting. I says, not happening, my friend. So I walk out, right, call Grubhub. Grubhub freaking gets the message. They said, you got to be kidding me, right? I said, no, this is what happened tonight. So just to order a pizza and stay in and eat, eat some carbs with my wife, I had a headache. What's the moral of the story? Don't eat carbs with your wife on a Saturday night. Go pick it up.
Very nice. Yeah, that's the polished side of Big Vito LaGrasso. Bro, I want to bounce something off you. I want to get your opinion on something, Vito, because I got a little bit upset about this, and I want to make sure I'm not in the wrong. Vito, I always get confused, bro. You got to set the record straight with me because I get confused. How many children do you have that are your children, that are stepchildren? What are their names and ages?
I have Hallie and Nick now. Okay. We're talking about 17, going to be 18 and 20. And then I have my daughter, Sandy, who's 33, 34.
Okay, Sandy's your daughter. Who are the other two? Nick and who?
Hallie.
Nick and Haley are stepchildren. Noel's kids.
Right.
Noel's kids. All right, so you only have one daughter, 30.
Right.
Okay. Vito, this happened to me, and I got upset about this, and I want to make sure I'm not barking up the wrong tree. So I'm asking you as a level-headed dad, if I'm in the wrong.
Bring it to me. I'll tell you.
Bro, my son, VJ, is 27 years old. Okay?
Okay.
He's lived with his girlfriend, God, bro, for probably the last 5 years or so. Okay, bro?
Okay.
The girlfriend had a wreck with her car. So for the last 4 years, they have one car. And VJ's got to drive her to work, drop her off. Then he goes to work. Then he's got to pick her up. Two grown people have had one car for 4 years. Okay. So, Vito, I got to be honest with you. VJ is the middle kid, bro. He's 27. He's the one guy. He never asks me for anything. Nothing, bro. Nothing. My daughter, just graduated from CU. She's 22. I'm still helping her out a bit. Will's 30 years old, and I'm still pissed off because I had to pay for his honeymoon, which I didn't feel I should have. But he'll still ask me for monetary things. VJ,
you paid for the honeymoon.
I paid for the honeymoon, bro. Don't get me started. That's another story for another time.
All right,
VJ smack in the middle. Vito, I swear to you, the kid has never asked me for a penny. Okay.
Okay.
So Vito, everybody knows. Listen, man, I don't make this public, but bro, I'm supposed to get what do they call that? With your eyes, not the retina, the other. What's the other part of your eye? Whatever. Not a part of your eye. Cornea. Vito, I'm supposed to get a cornea transplant. My mother had to get a cornea transplant. It's something that's hereditary, bro. My eyesight's getting worse and worse and worse. I haven't been able to drive at night for several years. And bro, about 4.5 years ago, Vito, I totaled my Jeep. I had my Jeep, Vito, for about, 13, 14 years. It was pushing 200,000 miles. It was 1999. I love my Jeep. My Jeep was a part of me, bro. I wound up totaling my Jeep, but at the same time, my daughter needed help buying a car and my wife needed a car. So, bro, I had to get 3 cars at once. When I was looking at the prices of Jeeps, I was like, forget it. I can't afford to do this because we all needed cars at the time. So 4.5 years ago, bro, I bought like a Volkswagen CC. Okay, bro? Vito, my Jeep, along with my dog Yogi behind me, you could see him over my shoulder here. My Jeep and Yogi were like huge parts of my life, bro. Huge parts of my makeup. They were part of me. And bro, like for the last 4.5 years, like I'm driving around in this Volkswagen CC, not wanting to spend money on a Jeep. And I'm like, something not only was a part of me missing, But bro, I'll be honest with you. I was starting to feel more and more nervous driving the Volkswagen CC because bro, it's a very sporty type car, very low to the ground. I'm a big guy, bro. It wasn't easy for me to get in and out of. The windshield kind of went down at a diagonal. I had to lean way back so I could see. And I got to the point that I'm like, man, I'm not safe. I just don't feel safe driving this. So I started revisiting the Jeep again. Okay, right, bro. To make a long story short, bro, I found bro, I was looking at Jeeps and everything, bro. Nothing was under 17 grand. And I'm like, I can't justify spending 17,000 on a Jeep. I can't do it. As bad as I want one, I can't do it. Finally, bro, one day out of the clear blue sky, Vito, I went to Craigslist, and in a town close by, bro, was this immaculate 2000 Sahara. I had a 1999 Sahara, Vito. This was a 2000. Bro, gold, loud, freaking gold. Looks like it just came off the freaking showroom. The car had 54,000 miles on it. The guy was a cop. He was selling it for his aunt. His aunt had pretty much had it in a garage for 15 years. So I met the guy as soon as I saw it. I made the arrangements with the guy, and I bought the Jeep. I got the Jeep for 11 grand. Bro, no way, no how, no way was I going to find a Jeep for cheaper than that, okay? So, bro, now I know my son needs a car. You know what I'm saying? And, bro, my blue book value on the CC was in perfect shape, bro. Not a problem with it. The blue book value was $6,500. And I had already brought it to CarMax, and they were going to give me $4 grand for it. Okay? So in trying to do the right thing, I say to my son, listen, bro, I know you guys have needed a car for a long time. This is a beautiful car. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't feel safe driving it. I'm too big for it. I want to get back in a Jeep. So I sold him my car for $3 grand. Okay,
good deal.
Good deal. $3 grand, bro. Because I'm now he never asked me for anything. I know I could have got at least $5 grand, but I'm like, screw that. Let me help him out. Let me give him the car.
Right.
So Vito, they bring the car to emissions. Okay, bro. The car passes emissions, no problem. Okay, bro. Bro, as soon as they drive out of admissions, literally, as soon as they drive out of the bay, the check engine light comes on. Okay, now, Vito, that same thing happened to me on 2 occasions. Once I brought my car in to get the motor, cleaned and get the valves cleaned and this, that, and the other thing. And when I drove it out of the place, my check engine light went on. Bro, once the same thing with freaking emissions. It passed emissions, no problem. As soon as I drove it off there, the check engine light came on. Okay? So he calls me, and I said, Vij, I said, the same thing happened to me, bro. Obviously, your car passed emissions. There's no problem with the car. I said something triggered it during the testing. I said, and when you drove out, the light went on. I said, if I were you, I would just immediately bring it back to emissions and say, listen, bro, the car passed, but as soon as we drove it out of the bay, the light went on. I said, that's what I would do first. See what they say. Maybe there's something they could reset, something got triggered, whatever the case may be, right? So he goes, well, I think I'm just going to take it to an AutoZone and have them reset it and this and that. I'm like, VJ, first of all, I don't think AutoZone does that anymore. Second of all, bro, bring it back to freaking admissions. That's where you had the problem, right? So, bro, he doesn't listen to me. He brings it to Firestone. Okay? Firestone clears it, but they don't do a diagnostic or anything like that. They just reset it, and they said to him, oh, bro, if I were you, I would bring it back to the dealer. You don't know what that light means. It could be a leak of an oil leak or this, that, and the other thing, right? So, bro, he calls me. Oh, bro. So bro, they drive it out of Firestone. What do you think happens?
Tell me.
The check engine light goes on again. Okay. So now he calls me today. And we're having a good conversation, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, Dad, I got to tell you the real reason I called. So I'm like, what's the real reason you called, bro? He goes, well, I brought my car to Firestone. They reset it. The minute I left, the check engine light went on again. The guy's telling me it could have an oil leak, this, that, and the other thing. I want to bring it to Volkswagen. Okay. Do you think you could help me out? So I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Let me get this straight. I said, let me get this straight. I said, first of all, bro, I gave you I literally lost $2,500 on the car. 35 if you want to go by Blue Book to help you out. I know I could have got $5,000 on the car. I said, second of all, bro, I give you the car in perfect working order. No engine light was on. Third of all, it passed emissions, bro. There's no problem with the car. It passed emissions. Something triggered it in emissions to make that light go on. I told you to bring it back to emissions. Oh, yeah, but I brought it to Firestone, and they're telling me there's an oil change. There could be an oil leak. I said, VJ, if anything's leaking from your car, you're going to be able to tell underneath the car, right? I said, and the check engine light has nothing to do with an oil leak. The check engine light is 100% emissions. That's what the check engine light is. Yes. So, bro, so he gets in an argument with me. I said, you know what, bro? Here's what we're going to do. Wait till you get the title. When you get the title, you come back. You'll sign the car over to me. I'll give you your $3,000 back, and I'll gladly bring it to freaking a true CarMax and get $4,000 for it. I said, okay, no problem. End of story. Now, bro, am I in the wrong here?
You're not in the wrong because you told them to bring it out. Any sensible guy would know if you bring the car in at past emissions, it rolls out. It's got a check engine light. They did something to the car. Usually they do something to the car so they can get you to pay for repair. That's not really true. It's just like, oh, we had an inspection. It needed a bulb. That's $35. Well, you passed emissions, but you need this, and this is $65. It could have been an easy fix. It could have been a scam, but he should have brought the car back and had them check it out and say why they did. If it passed emissions, that means that they did something to the car. You're not wrong.
All right, Dad. Because meanwhile, it turns into an argument and this and that. I'm saying, bro, you brought it into emissions. It was fine. It passed the emissions. The minute you drive it out, the light went on. Does that not tell you anything?
I would have drove it right back up into the thing, removed the car that was on the lift, and put my car back on there.
Exactly, like the pizza guy.
Yes.
All right.
I would have did that for sure.
Vito, I want to tell you this too before we get into the matter at hand. Bro, you have a Netflix?
Yeah, we have it.
Bro, you gotta watch this documentary that a brand member turned me on to. I watched it. I just made Amy watch it. Unbelievable. It's called Long Shot. You got to watch this documentary. It's freaking unbelievable.
Okay, I'll take you up on that.
And I want to thank the brand member for smarting me up on that. Because, hey, bro, when brand members send me that stuff a lot, I'll always check it out, a music or a show or something. Peter Bale sent me this great video the other day, a great DVD called Ragamuffin about a Christian singer by the name of Rich Mullins, who passed away in a Jeep accident at 41. And, bro, it was unbelievable. So I thank you guys for sharing this stuff with me. Okay, Vito.
Go ahead. Got something on your mind?
I got something on my mind. Listen, let me go through everything with you, okay? Listen, bro, I'm going to tell you how I've been feeling lately, Vito, and I'm shooting with you. I feel out of breath a lot lately. I feel palpitations lately. I feel like my head, I feel lightheaded lately. Okay, bro? And I know I get high strung, and bro, I'm overweight right now. I know I need to lose weight. I started today. I really need to lose weight. But I got all these things going on, and I'm trying to calm myself down. Right. So going into this show, I promised my wife I would not yell, I would not get excited. Okay, Vito? So I got, look, just so you see, everybody sees, I got a candle here on my desk. Okay, bro. Bro, I was gonna have one of those pot gummies, but I didn't want, I want to have all my wits about me when we have this conversation.
Clear-headed, save it for after the show. You good?
Bro, did you get the pizza for free at least?
Let me tell you something. We got credit from Grubhub because I got on the phone with Grubhub and I told them
how much.
What they give you? $25. So $25.
Wait, hold on. One guy came out with the roller, and the other guy came out with the what?
With the pizza, with the thing you go into the oven with the pizza board, the handle.
The pizza.
So I was gonna buy a roller, and I looked at him, and I looked at the other guy, and I was like, "You really think so, fellas, huh?"
So, bro, this guy's gonna hit you over. This guy's gonna hit you over the head with the pizza picker upper.
Yeah. And he's looking. He was a little guy, and he was looking at me. He had this look on his face, like. I said, all you got to do is make him come up there. I would have cracked your skull open, took the friggin' board, cracked your head open, flung it through, took a pizza, and I would have friggin' left.
All right.
And the best part of the whole thing is that there were 2 cop cars sitting outside.
Unbelievable.
It was. It was good. It was entertaining.
All right, Vito, let me get back to my thing. So I told my wife I'm not going to get upset, and I'm not going to get upset over that. I'm tired of getting upset over WWE stupid shit because it don't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. It so doesn't matter. But I have to. When my name is brought up, bro, you're forcing me to clarify things because Vito, I'm sure you've done this too. I used to take the route in the past that if something was said about me that wasn't true, I would say nothing about it, bro. I would let it blow over. I would never give the truth and my side. I would just let it blow over. But one thing I found out over the years, Vito, is when somebody says something about me and I don't defend myself and I just let it go, all of a sudden it becomes Vince Russo folklore. You know what I'm saying, bro? Because I didn't say anything about it and I didn't dignify it, all of a sudden it becomes truth. So I learned the minute somebody says something about me that's not true, I don't care who it is, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, okay, bro, you made these allegations, you said these things, now let me clarify the situation. So that's how I try to handle it now.
No, that's good because I used to do the same thing. People have been saying shit about me for years. I really can care less. You want to say this, you want to say that, and when you answer, you're giving them credibility. And you want to know what? It doesn't bother me. It doesn't. But if you're going to say it in my face, then I'll shoot with you and I'll go one-on-one and I'll tell you what I really think. But 9 times out of 10, it's just hearsay and things that are on the internet, the social media. And Vince, you had the right idea, but I know being in your position. And you're scrutinized all the time because you were one of the head guys in charge. I know after a while it gets monotonous, it gets irritating, it bothers you as a man because you want to defend yourself. And you know what? You have every right to. So if you're going to take this opportunity to defend yourself and do it, the form is yours. Go right ahead.
Well, Vito, one thing I want to say, and I'm pretty certain you're the same way. Vito, I got to tell you something, bro. I've been doing this podcasting now. God, we're going to be, right around WrestleMania, we're going to be 2 years on podcast 1, but I was doing Realm before that. I was doing Pyro and Ballyhoo. But here's one thing about me, bro, when I'm on my podcast, Vito. Bro, unless I am 100% sure about something or somebody, I don't open my freaking mouth because, bro, there are things in my mind that I think I'm sure about, but there's that shred of, you know what, bro? It was a long time ago. You might be wrong. Don't say anything about it. So, bro, for something to come out of my mouth, I have to be 100% certain. I'm sure you're the same way, Vito.
No, I hear you. You're right. And you know what? Once you have the facts and you got everything down, you can answer it correctly. You can answer it politically correct. You can say it with the utmost of respect in your rebuttal. So once you have all the facts, And I completely understand, Vince. Give me the scenario and let it rip.
Okay. Well, Vito, here's where it all started. Here's where it all started. You and I, right here last week.
Right.
Okay. I asked the question. Okay. If Triple H is the guy at NXT, if he is the guy at everything goes through Triple H at NXT, and you know, I mean, I'm certain that's the pecking order. Okay. If NXT is Triple H's baby, and everybody's going through Triple H at NXT to get to that next level at WWE.
Right.
And
That's
the
the
numbers,
pecking order.
the numbers at WWE continue to go down. I think it's fair to say nobody from NXT that went through the system, okay, has gotten over on a Main Street level. Okay, I'm not talking about getting over to the marks. I'm talking about John Cena getting over. I'm talking about stars outside of wrestling. I don't think there is anyone that went through NXT and has gotten to that level of being over aside from wrestling, being larger than life, being a star, and known by everybody, commercials, movies, televisions. John Cena is a household name, okay? I had nothing to do with the creation or success of John Cena, but everybody knows who John Cena is. There's nobody that went through that NXT system that comes close to being over mainstream. Vito, am I missing anybody?
Nope. The best class to come out of WWE, I think, was Louisville. You had Brock, you had Orton, you had Cena, you had Shelton Benjamin. I think that's the top four that came out of there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not missing anybody because I'm not sure. But if you had to say the best class, Orton, Cena, and Batista. I'm sorry, and Dave Batista. Dave Batista, Orton, Cena, Brock, Shelton Benjamin. Those five would stick out.
Right. So, and Vito, that is not me saying I personally do not like anybody that went through the NXT system. Quite the contrary. Is it what is it? Contrary. Quite the contrary. There are numerous guys and gals that went through NXT that I like. You know, I mean, come on, bro. Enzo, but he's not there anymore. Elias Sampson, I'm a big fan of. I'm a huge fan of Bobby Roode. Everybody knows that. I'm a huge fan of Charlotte. There are people that went through NXT that I'm a fan of, but none of those people I named are at the status of those people you just mentioned.
No, nobody is. Absolutely.
Right. So I asked a simple question. My simple question was this: if Triple H is in charge of NXT, and all of these people have gone through NXT to the WWE, and they're not over on a national level to casual fans, and I pose the question, is Triple H responsible in large part to the WWE losing a good portion of their audience? That was the question I asked.
He's in charge of the developmental, and he has people under him who run it for him. He's not there 24 hours a day. He does have some people who are qualified, some people who may not be qualified. I'm not sure of all the personnel, but he does have a balance there. But if you're not there hands-on every day, you can give orders, but sometimes the orders are misconstrued when they go to 2, 3, 4, and 5 people. So if they're not carried out, you know, it is his baby. He's in charge. His name is on it. So, yes, it's his baby.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, bro, and fair enough with what you said. Fair enough with what you said. But at the end of the day, bro, you're still responsible for it. Just like Vince McMahon is responsible for the WWE. You're responsible for that. You're
responsible, just like, let's see, Pritchard and Bischoff and Jim Ross and Vince Russo and Kevin Sullivan and Terry Taylor And all the guys, Ed Ferrara, and all the guys who were head writers, when they had their hand in it and they were the lead guy, they were responsible for what they did. Can't say anything because their name was on it. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So, well, bro, it's evident to me now that Triple H saw the headline. I don't know if he listened to the show. I don't know if somebody smartened him up, but he saw the headline, and the headline was, "Is Triple H responsible for the decline in viewership?" Something like that. He saw that headline and he didn't like it.
Of course not, because it made him look bad.
Fair enough.
And you know, and I know, the WWE and the fans, I'm talking to the fans now. Everybody knows that WWE listens to this show. They have somebody listening, and there's a report made because they have people in place to do this, and that's their job. So when the report goes in and a certain person's name is mentioned, of course they're sent an email to alert them that, hey, this is what was said, and this is what's going on. Are you going to make a rebuttal, or do you need to defend yourself in some kind of way? Go ahead, Vince.
Okay, so with that being said, just a couple of days later, Triple H goes on some radio show. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he makes the statement, Vince Russo knew how to start angles, but he didn't know how to end them.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, Hunter, interesting. What angles didn't I know how to end? Because all I know is Ed Ferrara and myself, I mean, bro, we did dozens and dozens and dozens of stories with a beginning, a middle, and end, beginning, a middle, and end, beginning, a middle, and end. We were storytellers. That's what we did. So now when Triple H makes a statement like he knew how to start stories, but he didn't know how to end them. Well, by making that statement, that's basically saying that every story I ever wrote, I didn't know how to end. And with all due respect, bro, I think the Rock story and the corporation was one of the greatest stories in the history of wrestling. I think Austin and McMahon was one of the greatest stories and conflicts in the history of wrestling. Mick Foley, with Dude Love and Three Faces of Mick and Undertaker and Kane. I'm not saying that to put myself over. These were good, freaking solid stories.
Were you part of the Rock and Hogan?
No.
Weren't part of that. Okay, I just named something because that was pretty big.
Yeah, no, not part of that at all. Not me.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm like, okay, Hunter, well, I disagree with you because I think we finished a lot of stories. I was curious to see what he was talking about in particular. Okay, so he goes on and explains about the Test and Stephanie McMahon angle. Okay, bro. And he said, he goes, well, this is what I'm talking about, Russo not knowing how to close, how to close stores. Meanwhile, you got to understand something at the time, here's the funny thing, Vito. At the time, creative was Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara, Vince McMahon. Okay, the three of us were the creative team. But Triple H points out Russo didn't know how to close stories. Well, it wasn't just Russo. First of all, Triple H, it was me, it was Ed, it was your father-in-law. Secondly, how would you know where any idea came from when you weren't privy to creative meetings, bro? You didn't sit in on creative meetings. You don't know who pitched what. You don't know who came up with what. You have no idea. But the fact of the matter is he's talking about a time when it was Russo, Ferraro, and Vince McMahon, but he's already narrowed that down to Vince Russo doesn't know how to finish stories. Because you know why, Vito? Because I said a week earlier, is he responsible for the downfall of the viewership? So now it's all on me. Okay, bro, I get it. Let me hear what story I didn't finish. So, bro, he goes on to tell this story about, we were doing a story about Test and Stephanie. Their courtship, they fell in love, the whole 9 years. Okay? He claimed that over in the UK, we shot an angle with Stephanie McMahon getting amnesia because we needed to buy some time because we didn't know where to go with the angle. So now I'm sitting there, and the name of the pay-per-view, Vito, was called Rebellion. Okay. And so now I'm like, okay, number one, I don't even remember a Rebellion pay-per-view. Number two, I never went to the UK when I worked for the WWE. And number three, there's actually four things. Number three, I, for the life of me, never remembered writing a Stephanie McMahon amnesia angle. And number four, Ed and I had a definite finish to the story.
Okay.
And I've stated that before this, where we were going with it. So then I'm like, you know what? I don't know enough about this Rebellion pay-per-view. Let me do my research.
As
bro?
You should.
As I should. So, bro, what I'm finding out is the Rebellion pay-per-view took place October 2nd, and it was only in the UK. Okay, bro? And I think it might have aired, at a Sky in Canada or something. But this was never, ever, ever, ever shown on US TV. This was not a Raw. This was not a SmackDown. This was a pay-per-view for the UK.
Okay.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, a couple of things there. First of all, Ed and I never wrote any shows outside of Raw, SmackDown, or televised pay-per-views. Because basically this pay-per-view Rebellion, bro, basically what it was pretty much, Vito, was a house show.
A house show. I was just going to say, it sounds like you had a house show and they did some kind of angle on the fly. And I guess the finish they didn't like, or the story they didn't like, or they just put something out there as a trial thing. If you weren't there, Ed wasn't there. Of course, Vince was there.
Right.
So, okay, go ahead. I get it. I'm with you.
So I'm like, I know for a fact. First of all, this is the first time I'm hearing about Rebellion. This is the first time I'm hearing about a Stephanie McMahon amnesia angle. I've never even heard of that before, bro. This is the first time, as Hunter is telling this story, this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
It sounds, I don't even want you to go further, but it sounds to me like this is a very much a Vince McMahon idea, because that's his writing. It has his writing on it. And just from other angles that come off on TV through the years at that time, it just sounds like something that would be part of the course. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, Vito, I'm like, okay, where was I on October 2nd while this show was taking place in the UK? Because I know I was not in the UK. And bro, there was never, ever, 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 ever a show I wrote that I was not there to produce, ever, in the WWE, ever. So I'm like, okay, so where was I on October 2nd? Okay, bro, guess where I was October 2nd?
Tell me where you were, Vince.
I was in Atlanta meeting with WCW. So they're in the UK putting on a house show. I'm at WCW October 2nd in Atlanta. It was a Saturday. They kept me over on Sunday. Ed flew in on Sunday, October 3rd. We signed the contract October 3rd. And that night at about midnight, because Vince was expecting me at the Meadowlands and I was still at a freaking airport, I had to call Vince McMahon and tell him over the phone because I had no choice. So in other words, bro, we gave our notice October 3rd on Sunday. And now, bro, I'm also remembering, I know the last show we wrote was at the Continental Arena in New Jersey. I remember that because our main event was Rock and Jericho, and we had Jericho going over Rock. So basically, backing that up, That means that entire week prior to Ed and I going to Atlanta, we wrote the Monday Night Raw for the Continental Arena. Never at any time did we write a UK pay-per-view. Never at any time did we write an bro. It wasn't true. It just wasn't true. So now I'm saying to myself, you know what, Hunter? Here's the deal, bro. I'm not going to call you a liar because I want to believe that you're not purposely telling a lie. I really want to believe that. But you're talking about this on a radio show as if it were a fact. And this is not a fact because think about the logic of this, Vito. At the time, there were two writers, me and Ed Ferrara. Okay?
Right.
Say for shits and giggles, Vito, we didn't know where we were going with this story. Just say for shits and giggles. And Ed and I are meeting every single day. Okay? Now, doesn't it seem more logical to you, Vito, that all Ed and I would have to do is sit down face to face with each other for 15 minutes to figure out where we're going with this story rather than do an amnesia angle that's going to buy us weeks and weeks and weeks of time to figure it out? Why would we have needed weeks of time to figure it out when it would have taken a 15-minute conversation?
Okay, I'm going to give you an answer. Okay. Now, people, listen to my logic. A lot of people listen to the Vince Russo brand and the show, and a lot of people have listened to Gaining Color. And we come out, and our motto is we don't bash, we don't criticize, we give an honest, analytic opinion of what's going on. There have been some instances on the show where people got hot about things, and some people took some things to heart. A lot of people don't like what we say because they feel like we're bashing the WWE. If something's not good, we do say it. If there have been some good things on the WWE brand that I think that have been good, and I've stated it because I'm looking to be a good journalist. I'm looking to be a good analyst. And if I was going to say lies all the time, I wouldn't be benefiting myself or the viewers or people who listen to my stuff. So I would think that because Triple H was the ridicule of something where he was on the down, he had to fire back with something off the top of his head of something. So if he remembers something like that, being that you are like, you do get upset about the product, I would think that after the rebuttal he made, he was trying to get under your skin somehow. And he knows that you get upset when people say things about you and maybe tell some fibs or untrue tales. Being that the story was unfinished, maybe it was unfinished because you left. But I'm sure there was a notepad on Vince McMahon's desk that had the whole story written out. Yeah. So I think in turn, it was a rebuttal against what you said. I think that he knows full well that you weren't there because I know you didn't travel overseas. I think that it was his shot to get at you, just to take a cheap shot, just to get back at you for the downfall of an angle, which I might add, after you left, if I'm not mistaken now I'm going to ask you a question. Was the angle finished as originally written by Ed Ferrara, Vince McMahon, and Vince Russo? Totally changed.
Totally changed.
Can you tell me what the finish of that angle was?
Let me tell you this first. Let me add a couple more
tidbits.
Yeah, so people know.
Go ahead.
So Vito, somebody actually sent me the footage that they're talking about. Okay, bro? So keep in mind, this took place October 2nd. That Raw that Ed and I did not go to took place October 4th.
Okay.
October 4th. So 2 days after this. So somebody sent me the footage. Davey Boy Smith blast into Vincent Shane's office, throws a trash can across the room. Okay, bro? Vito, you don't see anything. Next thing you know, Vincent and Shane are screaming, "Oh my God, Stephanie, you go there," and Stephanie is now on the ground, out. So the assumption is the assumption is Bulldog threw the trash can and it hit her. Okay, bro?
Okay.
They wheel her out on the stretcher and the whole 9 yards. Okay, bro? So now I'm looking at that piece of business. Bro, they're in the UK. The
Right.
Bulldog is the main centerpiece. So what they're trying to do with that little angle they did is they're trying to get heat on the Bulldog in the UK. Okay, no problem. That doesn't affect our story. No problem. But Vito, what actually did happen was once they aired that on Monday the 4th, when Ed and I were already gone, they came up with the amnesia angle to buy some time to figure out where to go. They came up with that. After they did the scene to get heat on the Bulldog in the UK, they find out Monday Russo and Ferrara are gone. Oh my God, what are they going to do with this story? They give Stephanie amnesia so they could figure it out. Okay, bro, that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. So let me tell you something. So now I'm like, Vince, just to make sure, call Ed Ferrara, because Ed has a really, really sharp memory. Okay, right, bro? So just in case I'm wrong. So, bro, I called Ed. I said, Ed, was there ever an amnesia angle in the UK and this, that, and the other thing? And Ed said, Vince, he goes, Vince, we never went to the UK. We never wrote house shows. We only wrote what was on TV. We never even discussed an amnesia angle. He goes, and we had to finish to Stephanie and Test. He said, you know, Test was going to leave Stephanie at the altar. So then Ed goes to me. He goes, Vince, if you remember back then, they weren't as high on Test as we were. Like, that was our idea, and we were driving creative, and that's what we wanted to do because we saw a lot of potential in Test.
Good-looking guy, good build, good wrestler.
He said, but if you remember, like, Vince wasn't very high on him. Therefore, as soon as we left, it made all the sense in the world, bro, that they changed that story. But I mean, my whole freaking point is, listen, man, Hunter, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and call you a liar. I don't believe you vehemently lied, and you lied to try to hurt me. I said, but the fact of the matter is, bro, like, first of all, you got to get your facts straight and your facts correct. Okay. Obviously, we were not even at that pay-per-view. If we had written that and that were our baby, we would have been told to go. We didn't go, bro, because it was a freaking house show, and we don't write house shows. You guys came up with that angle after we freaking left. And Vito, go ahead, bro.
I was going to say, and if I remember correctly, at the end of that angle, who's the main guy in that spot? Who is the main attraction?
Triple H.
Okay. So, with that being said, with Triple H being in the main spot and kind of taken away from what Test was going to have, because obviously I don't remember the whole thing. I didn't do any research. We're talking here. We didn't rehearse this. People were going on the fly, and I'm going off my memory. I don't know if Triple H and Test fought. I don't know if Test, went after Triple H. I remember a car scene where they got married. She was knocked out. They did the mime thing, and then they were married, and so on and so forth, and they ran with it. So, in essence, you guys weren't there. It was a rebuttal against what you said. You came up with the facts. You fought against it. Triple H threw a little shade your way, just to irritate you, obviously, and it was done to bust your balls. He got you. You rebutted it. You came out. You defended yourself. Now we know what the deal was. But most importantly, out of the whole thing, I got to tell everybody out there, WWE does listen to the show. WWE does take to heart what we say. It's not because they like us. It's because we give an educated analysis of the product, and it's not bashing. I'm not even bashing Triple H for what he did. I'm just saying like how it is, because I was in the wrestling business. I know Triple H. I know what the deal was, and so on and so forth. But Vince,
Yeah,
I got to tell you.
Go ahead, Vito.
I got to tell you, when you see these things come out, and I know you get upset, and as your boy, as your main guy for a long time with our friendship, you know what? You don't got to fight every fight, and you ain't got to fight every battle. And like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to let it roll, my man. And like he said it, we say things on the show. I know they listen. They get butthurt on what your analysis, because you know why? And this is something everybody in the world needs to listen to. All the 2 million people who listen to this, they value what Vince Russo says, because if they didn't, they wouldn't mention his name at all. And
Vito, I want to say this, and this is my freaking opinion, which I am entitled to. And that's the thing, bro. I have no problem with Triple H having an opinion about me. I have a problem with, he can't close a story, and here's an example when that's a lie. That I have a problem. If you would have said, Vince could start stories and not end them, okay, bro, that's your opinion. I don't have an issue with that. But don't pin something on me that I had nothing to do with. But I want to make something perfectly clear. This is my opinion, bro. So Triple H can get hot at this. Stephanie can get hot at this. I don't care who gets hot at this. It's my opinion. Okay,
right,
bro? And I've felt this way for a very, very long time. It was made clear to me. And I'm not going to say by who, because I gave my word that I would not say who told me or when they told me, and I'm not going to give that up. Okay, you're just going to have to take my word for it. It was made clear to me that going all the way back to 2002, when I almost went back to the WWE, it was told to me crystal clear, Vince, there were two sides to that. Side one, Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon wanted you back in the company. The other side of that was Triple H and Stephanie did not. Now, that was told to me by somebody that I would never doubt them for 1 second. I would believe them just as much as I believe my own wife. And that made all the sense in the world to me, because Stephanie and Triple H were all about power and all about being in control. And Stephanie was head of creative at that time. She didn't want a Vince Russo there that creatively knew more than her. I get all that. Shane and Vince wanted me there because Shane and Vince wanted what they thought would be best for the company.
Right.
So, bro, when I look at that situation, and I kind of look at what happened from 2002 on, the story to me, in my opinion, becomes crystal clear. You got two sides here, bro. You got Stephanie and you got Hunter and you got Shane on the other side. Just like Shane wanted me there and they didn't want me there, that's a shoot. So, bro, all of a sudden, we're going to start a developmental group. Okay, bro, we're going to start NXT, and we're going to put Triple H in charge of NXT. Okay, bro? Bro, to me, my opinion, none of this is based on fact. Triple H played the freaking marks like a freaking violin. He saw what was happening on the independent scene, bro. He saw, all this new style of wrestling they were going for. He saw all the guys they were talking about on the independent scene, bro. All these guys that were over with the marks. Okay, he did his homework, bro. And all of a sudden, he brought each one of them into NXT. Then, bro, once he had the talent there, he started laying out, you know, this is what's going to be different between NXT and the WWE. And it was the style that the indie market and the marks were into. It was the style that Dave Meltzer was into and Wade Keller was into and the New Japan and all that crap, bro. And Triple H was going to get over with the marks, and that Full Sail Arena was going to explode every time the show was on TV. Triple H was going to get his picture taken with everybody on the roster to nauseam, saying, "This is my baby. They love me. Look, nobody loves the WWE anymore, but look at my creation. NXT, look how this is getting over. The marks love me. The marks embrace me." And meanwhile, I will say this, bro, and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't like it. By promoting that style of wrestling that is unnecessary, only the marks like it. Casual fans don't give a crap about fake flop, flip, flop, and flying. And they're telling you that because they've turned off their TV sets. As far as I'm concerned, by promoting that brand and promoting that style, when every single one of those 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old kids get hurt unnecessarily, you're responsible for that, bro. You're right. Promoting that type of a product and these kids get hurt and Paige can't wrestle again and the list goes on and on, you're freaking responsible. Me personally, my opinion, I hold you responsible. But there was only one little flaw in Triple H's plan. And here's the flaw, bro. When these internet and mark darlings went from NXT to the grand stage to the world to the WWE, guess what, bro? Nobody got over. And guess what, bro? The audience didn't grow. The audience didn't grow, bro, because all those millions and millions and millions and millions of fans you had were not interested in seeing their next door neighbor flipping all over a wrestling ring, bro.
You are absolutely right.
So for everything you obtained at NXT and getting over with the marks and the marks cheering your name and the taking the pictures with every champion to get yourself over, and what you were doing in the process, by the way, where you were burying Vince McMahon. Because you were basically saying everybody loves me, everybody loves my product, but nobody's watching the WWE anymore. Bro, Stephanie and freaking Hunter, they knew exactly what the frig they were doing. Exactly what they were doing. And bro, congratulations, bro. You've captured the marks. Well, let me tell you something, bro. Anybody can capture the marks. You put two guys in a ring and let them have a backyard wrestling match, and the marks will watch and the marks will chant, "This is awesome." So by capturing the marks, people that live, breathe, eat, and die professional wrestling, you've accomplished nothing, bro. Nothing. Because the proof is in the pudding. When they went to the big stage, bro, and nobody's over and nobody freaking cares, that goes back to everything you did for yourself for self-glorification was not what was, in your own words, best for business, bro. It was best for your business, but it was not best for the WWE business. It was not best for the WWE fans that have abandoned you in thrones, bro.
No, I got to tell you, people, like when you talk about this and you talk about other stuff, I'm going to go back and recap what Vince was talking about. Talking about 2002, when Vince was going to go back there, I was actually on the phone with Vince and he was asking me what do I think I said, Vince, go. Get on a plane. Go down there. See what they got to do. After he went down there, he called me up. He said, Vito, I can't do it. There was another gentleman who was a writer who had a very innovative style who had another creative mind. And his name is Paul Heyman. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. He's a great, ECW. Paul Heyman was on the writing team, and he used to butt heads with Vince McMahon. And he was told, why do you have to butt heads with my father? Why do you have to do this? Why? Because Paul Heyman had a unique style. He wanted something different than what Vince was pitching. And if you're not going to agree with what's going on, you got to leave the booking team. And then later they brought Paul on as a manager because he was valuable like that. Now, you fast forward to the NXT guys, and like I've stated here on the show, ECW was a cult following. We had a certain watch, and that's where you got that certain aura. And that was the third company at WWE, WCW, ECW. Okay? Did ECW produce some really good talent that went on to the WWE and WCW? Yes, they did, and they were productive. Now, you talk about NXT, and like I said, it's its own cult following. It's a brand that's close to the indie scene. And yes, they do capture that audience, and they do get those people because they wrestle indie style. And when they're taught that system, like I stated, they have to come up to the WWE main roster, and they have to learn a new system where they're curtailed. They don't have 10 minutes, they got 2 minutes. And you don't have 5 minutes, you got 1 minute. So you have to learn all over again how to get over on the big scale in a shorter amount of time. Because it's not an indie show, it's a structured, conservative show. Structured and conservative, we do it one way, there's one rules, it's going to be done this way, and you're not going to break it. That's why a lot of the NXT guys do not get over as such as they were on NXT when they go up to the main roster, and that's the problem of today's market. Triple H is brilliant in capturing the NXT crowd. If he had a branch off and he said, okay, I'm going to take this is my baby, and I'm going to go with this. And I give him credit because he had the guts to do this, use his mind, use his, savvy, do what he had to do. But he does have a good product for NXT and for those people. Can it be compared to the WWE? No. But if you gave it the same timetable, the same light, and kept those people on NXT and let them become huge stars in their own environment when they've grown, you might see a John Cena of NXT. You might see a Batista of NXT. You might have the stars of NXT grow and stay there. But because everybody wants to go to the main roster and it's only treated as a developmental, you're not going to see those stars. And that is the problem of today. If they kept all the NXT people there, where they had great matches, they were over, the gimmicks were good, everything is good, then you'd see a difference in the product and a difference in the development of the characters and how they can evolve to be bigger stars in one single environment. Everybody remembers a guy named RVD. Where did he become a star? In ECW with the RVD, right? And there was Taz. Taz had a unique look. And there was Dreamer, and there was Raven, and there was Sabu, and they had the Sandman. Then they had New Jack. They had Balls and Axel. But did they come up to the main roster and did they use that innovative style? Taz is a perfect example. Taz was a good wrestler. Taz was a megastar in ECW. He came up to the main roster. He got a good contract. He came up. They changed his whole look and they changed his persona because it wasn't what WWE wanted, and they wanted to make their own stars. This is why they came up with the developmental territories, because WWE wanted to develop their own stars. They had Louisville and they had Deep South. It was a different product. And it wasn't that you had NXT at this big $5 million facility. You had these two little developmental companies where it was easier to develop talent and push them up to the main roster. And that was more successful than the NXT brand. The NXT brand has evolved. It has become bigger than what anybody thought. When they go to when they go on their tours and when they go to their house shows and certain big places, they do sell them out. Now, I know Vince is very hard on Sami Zayn and he's hard on Kevin Owens. But if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were to stay in NXT and be the big dogs in that pond and you add Nakamura, and you kept Bobby Roode down there, and you kept Samoa Joe. They had a decent amount of guys there who were quality NXT guys. When you bring them up to the big show, they kind of get lost in the shuffle because it's a bigger ocean and they're swimming all over the place and they're not direct.
But Vito, let me just interrupt right there. Vito, real stars are not going to get lost in the shuffle.
You're right.
They're not going. Real stars are going to rise to the top.
But that's if they have the opportunity to be taught to be stars. These guys are taught a system, not taught to be stars. That's the difference of today. You're taught to wrestle in NXT. Everything you hear is NXT, NXT. It's not to develop your craft to go to the main roster. It's not that. You are an NXT brand person. You go up to the roster. And remember that, people. And it's something that's etched in stone. You're an NXT girl, whether it's Sasha Banks, Charlotte. Now, Charlotte is the only one I would say who's a mega star. She has the pedigree. She has the background. Okay. Bray Wyatt should be a mega star, but they don't. They hold that kid back for whatever reason. Okay. Elias Sampson is up and down and flip-flopping. Braun Strowman, he's on the rise, but how many times has he been to the cliff? How many times did he go over that cliff to get there? Roman Reigns is a product of NXT, but he's even gone up and down, up and down. So you're talking about people who have to learn on the job for 3 and 4 and 5 years. The Miz did not come from NXT, and The Miz was broken in 2005, 6, and 7. And right now, after all these years, he is a mega star. He is the goods. He is somebody who's got it.
But Vito, shouldn't the number one goal at NXT, the number one goal, bro? They're plucking these people from independent. Right. So these people already have some sense of how to work, because they're coming from independent. A lot of them, Kevin Owens was out there independently for years. Sami Zayn El Generico was out there for years. They had some semblance of wrestling. Shouldn't the number one priority be to teach them how to be stars? And if that is the case, why aren't they being taught how to be stars at NXT?
Because the main priority at NXT is to build the brand of NXT and not be a star. And that is your direct answer. And that is the only reason that NXT is as successful as it is because all they bleed, all they know is NXT. If you brought back Louisville and you brought back Deep South, and say you put a Bill DeMott back there or a Dr. Tom and an Al Snow, all right, and a Les Thatcher, and you had those little minds working to develop stars, you would have better star quality, because the main focus wasn't you're going to Louisville or you're going to Deep South. You're going to a developmental territory. This is not called a developmental core. This is called NXT. It is a brand. That's what you got, Vince.
Well, bro, it also doesn't hurt Triple H. And I listen, bro. Listen, let me say this about Hunter. Okay, bro, I'm going to say this about Hunter. I worked very, very closely with Hunter, Triple H when I worked at the WWE. I freaking loved the guy. Okay, this is before he was even dating Stephanie. He was dating China. I loved him as a wrestler and as a human being. He was always very respectful to me. He only did one thing I didn't like when we worked together, and I've told everybody about that. I wanted him to do a job for D'Lo once, and he refused to do it, and I got very upset with him because D'Lo worked just as hard as everybody else. Outside of that little hiccup, I loved the guy. Okay, right. Always loved the guy. I don't know the Triple H post Stephanie McMahon. All I did know was I was a little bit pissed off in 2002 when I looked back at everything I had done to help him and assist him and make him the best he could be. And now I knew he was blatantly trying to cock block me from going back there because he wanted the power. That made me look at Triple H a little differently. So
but that's the name of the game. You know that. We just had to talk about that. Why don't you put the guys who deserve jobs and want to be there? Because everybody protects their job and they all block each other to protect their spot. That's what they're doing with you. And, you know, just to add something to the fire, all right, I know you wrote a lot of stuff, and you've said it on numerous shows that you used to write promos for Triple H, and you used to write for Stephanie, and you used to do stuff. And as creative and as much as they are in power today, and as much as they want to be have that aura about of greatness, do you think they want anybody to know that they used to be written for word, and given all this? Of course not, especially from the arch enemy, Vince Russo, who supposedly ruined wrestling. But he helped develop the mega stars of yesterday and help make these people, but they don't want to be reminded of where they came from sometimes. And that's the number one rule. Remember where you came from, because if you always remember where you come from, you can always go home.
Yeah. And I believe, listen, like I said, bro, I have not had a conversation with Triple H since 1999, bro. Would gladly talk to him if he wanted to. If he doesn't like, of course, that's never going to happen, bro. I'm a nobody, and I'd be doing it because I need the publicity and I need the numbers, whatever they want to say. I would love to have a conversation with Triple H because, quite frankly, the things I'm saying here, I would say to him, and I would hold nothing back. I believe, my opinion, I believe that Triple H takes a little bit of great pride and takes great enjoyment of these guys being over in NXT
He does.
and then going to WWE and not being over.
You're right.
Everybody's going to look at him like, oh my God, under Triple H and at NXT, they were big stars, but look at this idiot, Vince McMahon. He takes the same talent and can't get it over. I know Triple H takes pleasure in that. When at the end of the day, here's the bottom line, Vito. Here's the bottom line. At the end of the day, they should be working together. But there is an agenda, just like there is always an agenda in wrestling. There is an agenda. And here's what they're doing, bro. They're getting in each other's way. That's why they're not getting over.
There's 4 different people there who want to have it their way. There's Vince McMahon, who's been doing it for years. There's Stephanie, there's Triple H, and there's Shane. And you know they rub heads when they sit at dinner at the holidays. Okay? And we all know that. It's not a secret. But Vince, I'm going to give you something. Triple H still has the same email. They all do. You got it in your computer.
I don't. I really don't. I
don't.
You
know the format of, you could write it to Stephanie, you write it to Vince, pass it along, copy and paste, and write him an email. If he doesn't answer it, hey, okay, you tried to communicate. But if he does answer you, at least you say your differences and you get it out of the way, and then you make peace. So what the answer is, write an email. Say, hey, X, Y, and Z, and then you take it from there. You're diplomatic in your emails. You're not some loudmouth. You're not some guy who wants to fight. You're just a guy who helped the industry, who gets blamed for stuff. And then when people shoot back at you, they want to make themselves bigger than what they are, and then they want to say Vince Russo, Vince Russo, Vince Russo. But without Vince Russo, there is no news and there is no drama. So you're getting yourself all worked up. Write an email. Send it to Stephanie. It's the same thing. Send it to Vince. Pass it along to Stephanie. Send it to Shane. You know what? Shane's gonna good fun. Okay, Hunter, there's an email. Here you go. And you know they will do that courtesy for you because they respect you.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the deal, bro. Here's the message. The message is this simple, okay, bro. And it's exactly what Vito just said. You have 4 individuals that are not on the same page. Okay. And basically what I'm saying is, bro, not only for the sake of the fans, bro, for the sake of wrestling, for the sake of Vince McMahon Sr., bro, who started all this, for the sake of Vince McMahon Sr., put freaking egos aside and do what's best for the business. It's that simple because, bro, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, bro. It's all about business. It's not all about individuals, and it's not all about ego, and it's not all about power. Okay. It's all about business, bro. It's really that simple. And this is somebody, both me and Vito, that were in the business for a very long time. When we sit on the outside and we look in, this is what we see. And what we see is a shrinking audience year after year after year. And all we're saying is, guys, egos aside, money aside, power aside, do what's best for the freaking business, bro.
And you want, and on that note, Vince, I'm going to say something here. I bet you if they said in a meeting, okay, we're going to open up a new brand, okay, they're going to give Paul Heyman the run. They're not going to interfere with Paul Heyman. They're going to let him run. Do you think he would fill a 3,000-seat arena? I'm not talking 10 people. I'm talking 3,000, 2,500. Do you know why? Because they would all go to see the Paul Heyman mystique, because he would fill that arena and the cult following would come back. So they would have another successful brand. But why won't they do it? Because they're afraid that they will be showed up by Paul Heyman and his great mind, and they're afraid that he will get over with his brand better than what is going on in the WWE. Just like in NXT, you know what? Triple H, you're doing a great job. You took your brand, you're making it a brand. It's all the brand. You're not doing individuals. It's a brand. And that's what you're saying. That's what you're publishing. Hey, kudos to you. You're doing a good job with your brand. As far as this other stuff that happens, hey, you know what it is? The writers don't write. The people don't get over, and they have a hard time because they're swimming in a big ocean. But when you're in that small, tight little arena and it's 2,500 people, hey, you got something going there because you can connect with the people a lot easier.
That's it. All right, bro. Good discussion. Tell everybody what's going on in your world, Vito.
Well, I tell you what, we got YouTube. YouTube has been going good. Everybody go to the Big Vito brand. Okay, we got on Twitter, the Big Vito brand. Go over there, get you some more followers. And on Facebook, it's the Big Vito brand, ProWrestlingTees.com/the Big Vito brand. Use the code Big Vito or use the code Russo. Everybody go buy a t-shirt, a collar and elbow. Everybody, we got some merch over there. Go to my website, BigVito.com. Also, Vince, you're doing a show with Noel. Can you give me the name of the show just so I don't mess it up?
No, I want you to try.
All right. Spilling tea with teen moms. We're going to spill it.
Spilling the teen mom tea.
All right. So, well, listen, we're spilling something. All right. That's my best thing. I
tea.
spill things.
Pizza sauce.
Pizza sauce. Yeah. All right. And last but not least, people, when you're going to order on a Saturday night with your wife or your girlfriend or that loved one, don't order. Go pick it up.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, everybody. That is it for Getting Color. We will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Big Vito, thank you very, very much for all your insights, bro. Really appreciate
This was a very, very good show, and I hope it's very informative to everybody because we didn't just knock or go after somebody. We gave you the whole scheme of things. And if people really take a look at what we're saying, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. That's it, people. We will see you next week on Getting Color. Take care, everybody.